Have you ever done something and later on you came to regret it? Personally, I have, and I regret it a lot. And people don't know if I regret what I did, but inside my heart, I know how much I regret doing it. And so, guys, today we'll know what I did. Anyway, hi guys, hi beautiful people, how are you doing? Welcome back to Reality with Brenda, where we keep life real and honest. If you're watching me for the first time, please feel welcome and feel loved, because we love guests here. And if you're watching me for the second time, for the third time, for the fifth time, for the 10th time, for even more than that, thank you for always coming back to support me by watching my videos. Here is where we give positive vibes, unfiltered content, true life stories, and etc. So if you haven't subscribed to this channel, you are missing a lot. Please do so and click that bell so that you may be notified when I upload another video. So guys, today is another day with another beautiful video and another beautiful conversation. So I beg you guys to stay tuned and please make sure you like this video as you watch. So let's get into it. And so guys, have you ever done something that up to date you regret why you did that, and what was that thing that you did? So today I will give you my story of what I did. Mine is kind of complicated and sad at the same time, because you know guys, what I did, I dropped out of school and it was not my let me say, it was not my fault. It's because of the circumstance and everything. But yeah, I regret, but I don't regret why getting out of that school. But I regret not going back to school. Yeah. So let me take you now back when So once upon a time, I was a little girl, born of. I came to a family of 7 siblings, but 7 kids, but I am the second born, and at the moment we were 4 kids. Yeah, it was my elder sister, myself, my younger sister, and my brother. So we were just 4 of us. So yeah, the moment that thing happened. So where do I start? So yeah, we were raised by at the moment, my both parents, mom and dad, and my mother was the supportive one. Yeah, my mother was the supportive. She was playing a huge role to that family. You know, like 99%. She played like 99% role of that family. Yeah, she was the provider. She was the everything. And my dad was also he's a good man. Let me give him his flowers. I don't want to favor one person here. Yeah, so my mother was the breadwinner. I can say that because we used to see how she did everything, how she was doing her best to make sure we have food, we have something to wear, school fees. Yeah, she provided like almost everything, not almost 99% of everything was my mother. Yeah, my dad was somehow mlevi hivi, lakini you know, ni walevi, ni warogi mlituongea baba yetu, lakini ni sawa tu. Yeah, at first he was not that bad, but when we were living in Nandi Hills, so he was not that bad. But when we went back to our village homes, there things went south. Yeah, things got worse. Yeah, and he was hustling, but he was not supportive that much. So yeah, we were, now when I went to school, we went to school, all of us. Yeah, my mother was trying her best to make sure everything is, yeah. So but you know, when we were going to school, we had my mother could barely afford something like shoes and everything. Whew. So we used to go to school to go to Mekanyaga miguu chini, you know. And you know, the funny thing was, you know, in our school, that school was like, maybe it was old shule imezeeka. So you know, the floor was not that good. The floor was like, you know, here is like a small part is cement is there, but the other part is like mashimo, holes and everything. So we never even used to mop the classroom because what are you mopping? So we used to sweep and everything. So yeah, and now because we were walking we did not have shoes. We were now kanyaga mguu chini tukienda shule and everything. So that classroom was full of, I don't know how, viroboto and the jiggers, So jiggers were many and kaza kutushambulia hivyo na hivyo hivyo. So when you hauna viatu, una socks, hauna anything, so itakushika vizuri sana. So jiggers, class 1 it was good, class 2 it was good. Now class 3 is where things now began to not to favor me. Yeah. So my legs were full of jiggers, and guys, it was bad. And also vidonda, if you look at my body, I have like scars. Yeah, vidonda hivyo zimejaja hivyo because of, I was not used to that. I was living, when I was born in a small town, in Eldoret. I lived there, we lived in Nandi, so I was still not used to the life of village. And guys, it was really bad. You have jiggers in your legs and you don't have shoes, so it was difficult. Even walking, it was a problem. So sometimes I could even go to school, and our school, we were not eating at school, lunch and everything. When you come to school, when it is lunch time, you have to go back home, eat and come back to school. So it got to a point that I could not manage to go home. Why? Because I'm walking like very slow because of the situation in my legs. So when I go home, I'll get late. If I get late, I will be beaten by teachers. So I have to starve. And in our Ushago, in our village, the village, you don't eat in the morning when you go to school. You eat only at lunch and evening, dinner or supper. So we don't eat in the morning. So when I eat supper, I have to wait another next evening, because I will not eat in the morning, and school I cannot come for lunch because of my legs. I cannot walk really fast. So I used to starve like that. Or maybe my sister, when she noticed that I had not come home, she would carry food for me, and life continues like that until when I continued like that, but when we got to class 4 now, my leg got kidonda here. You see, this is the scar, and it was worse. Ikakuja ikatobokea this side. So guys, and it was, I had people calling it kidonda ndugu. I don't know what is that. It was not getting any better. It was bad. It came like for 1 good year. Iboni after ikaoza, and it started now smelling. Smelling really bad. So now people my other classmates and everyone started now hating on me because my wound is smelling, and they don't like that smell. So they become now enemies. They hated me. They used to hit me. They used to they used to come with a biro pen, because in class 4 we used to write with pens. So they could stab me with pens like this, and so those moments teachers were putting us to sit, maybe 2 boys and 1 girl, or 2 girls and 1 boy at the moment. So when the teacher put me to sit with boys, those boys could hit me really bad. They could tell me to sit down, They could tell me to sit down on the floor. Now when they see teacher coming, they now tell me, come, sit here. So I would sit on the chair, on the desk, only when the teacher is coming in the class. But when we don't have teacher in the class, I would sit down on the floor, because of my wound is smelling, my legs are full of jiggers and everything, and my self-esteem now came down, zilishuka to a point that I could not even speak to school. Nilikuwa nanyamaza, I could not to talk to anybody. Even teachers were wondering why do I, am I deaf or something, because I don't speak. Am I like, I don't, guys, it was really bad. So yeah, life became difficult, and I went to class 5, we went to class 6, and things got worse. So it came now a time when now teachers now, because I'm too quiet, I don't speak, I don't talk, I don't play, because when you go to play with other kids, you know, they hate you. So the one thing they'll do, even if we try to play like maybe you know, this, we used to play that like this game that you throw a stone and you do like this, you know. So when I win and my other person, my other playmate loses, that person will wake up and step on my feet like this, you know, that I can feel the pain. So I used to go through a lot in schools, and teachers now became some teachers now became my enemies. They used to beat me because of, you know, in the morning when we came to school, I could leave home like maybe 7 a.m. But I can, when I get to school, it's now 9 a.m. You know, I'm late. So teachers wananipiga. They don't know what I'm going through. Now I began to hate school. But I used to push myself, you know. I began to hate school, like I hated school, you know, because now teachers are becoming my enemies. Classmates are now becoming my enemies, you know. And so these classmates are now influencing other people to hate me, you know. Like they could tell people, yeah, this person is smelling and everything. So now my grandma now decided now to look for something, maybe like mitishamba, you know, those, how do we call them? Yeah, those kenyeji. So she used to put like here and here, and she could tie like anaifunga na kiraka design yenyewe that ile maji hiyo dawa itaingia, you understand? So she did that like it went like she did like that like 3 months, and now the wound started now drying up. It was now, thank you God, because so one day my mom could stop going to work. My mom is a salonist, you know. She opened a small salon in market there. So that day she stopped. She didn't go to work. She told me that you are not going to school. I just want to remove I want to check on your legs, you know. She want to remove the jiggers in my legs and everything. I said okay. It was painful, but I had to go through it because I wanted to heal. So she did it, and it was now like all over my leg, even here, you know. It was really bad. And so that day she removed I think she did that like for more than 2 hours. I was shaking, my leg was shaking like this, you know, the pain, my legs were shaking like this. And after she has done that, she took it is not a control. I think it was how do we call this thing? It's something that they put in the toilet when the toilet is smelling. It is a black, is it called deep or something? I don't know. Yeah, that's something like that. It was black in color. So she put on my legs, and she told me that not to go. I could not even walk. So I stayed I slept that whole day, and then my legs were shaking. Like I was like, guys, I don't know why I decided to tell you this story. So after that, I stayed home like 2 days, and my grandma now gave me her socks. My grandma is the reason why at least I got better. She gave me her socks, and my mother bought for me these plastic shoes. I think we used to call them sandals. So I put on that, and it was 100 shillings. So I went to school that moment, and I was not, now the wound is opened because my mother was removing everything. So one more mistake, even if I try to remove the socks, those small tickets will jump into my wounds, and they will now grow there again. So I used to be more careful, and it got a point that teachers now said, if it is not school shoes and school socks and everything, you don't have to come with anything that is not from school. The situation now came again, and my mother could not afford school shoes and everything, so I had now to kanyaga chini tena. I continued like that, and it came now a time when my mother was not well financially, and so I lacked now books. I remember this time when I refused to go to school. It got to a point I went to school, and my mother could not afford. When you go to upper class, you have to carry like, like 12 books and going forward. So I think I had like 4. I used to make subjects on my books. I could write. We used to have 2 mathematics teachers. So the one was coming not every time, but maybe once a week, and and the other one was coming like every day. So I used to write. When you're opening the books, hapa kwanza naandika this teacher kila siku, and kuanzia katikati kwenda nyuma tena I do for the other teacher. So one day this teacher now, we mwenye anafanyanga mara moja gave us assignment, and I did, and so I was unlucky that day. The teacher told us that he want to mark the books in his office, so we had to, the monitor and prefect had to collect our books. So when the books were the books were in the office, I think that day he didn't mark our books, so he closed the book so that he can continue with the marking the next day. So vile alifunga vitabu hivyo, now he was now opening the book akimark the following day. Now akapata vile nimemix, akapata auni kazi yake, anashangaa hizi kazi ni gani sijaipeana hizi, where is my work? So when alifungua kwa mbele akapata nimeandika kwa mbele, he was so angry. He came to our class and akanipiga. He did beat me. And guys, our uniform was light, very light, and we were warned not to put on something that is not from school. You have to wear short that is, we used to call them buluma, that is yellow in color. When you put on something that is not for the one that they want, you will tapelewa kwa parade, kwa assembly katikati, and the teachers will embarrass you in front of everyone, and utapigwa na kila mwalimu wa class yako and everything. So I used to put on like a panty, only a panty, and it was a very light dress. So that day alinipiga, nilikuwa nimefura huko, hata ilikuwa shida, and that teacher was watu walikuwa wanaogopa, because akikupiga kiboko moja utasikia ni kama unaona hata Yesu akisulubiwa, and he did alinipiga tano. And so I told myself that no, this is not the life that I want, So I assumed that, and the following day, the other teacher was in I think alikuja mapema before, I used to walk like for 2 hours because my legs. So I got to school very late, like I got to school like 8:40 there, and the teacher was already in class, and he was teaching the students. And so when he saw me, he told me that, what is insagapo nakuja shule? And I was like, nimechelewa, but I'm sorry, He told me, ulifanya kazi yangu? And I told him yes. So he told me, show me my work, and I was like, I used to carry like a paper bag. I didn't have a bag, so I opened my paper bag and I removed my book. So the moment I wanted to look for his work, he grabbed my book, akapata nimemix subject kwa kitabu nini yake, subject tofauti kwa kitabu yake, subject yake, so alinifukuza. Yeah, he told me, go back home and come with your parent. And my dad was so harsh, alikuwa mkali sana, anaweza kupiga vibaya sana kwambia toka kwenda shule. So I didn't want to go to tell my dad, because my dad is haizi nibaya hiyo kitabu, but he will beat me and tell me go back to school. And my mother is so calm, and yeah, he doesn't talk a lot. Yeah, so she doesn't talk a lot. So I went and I saw my mother. My dad was was still at home, and my mom was now leaving. So I had to climb a tree, and I sat on that tree until my dad went to work. That's when nikashuka chini and I went to the house, nikakaa hapo. I did not tell anyone because I know my mom does not have money to buy me books, So nikipeleka mwalimu shule, nikipeleka mamangu shule, if my mom take me back to school, she will be embarrassed because she doesn't have money to buy me those things, So I didn't want to embarrass my mom in front of my classmates and schoolmates and everything. So I stayed at home that day, and the following day nilifikiria mambo yote nimepitia kwa shule, students wananidunga na mabairo hivi, niko na malama huku kwa mabairo kudungwa, they amenipiga na kaa chini and everything. So I told myself that I'm not going back to that school. I'm not going back. So my sister woke up, my cousins woke up that morning, they prepared themselves, they asked me, why are you not waking up? Why are you not preparing yourself? You will be late. And I was not saying anything. I didn't say anything. So they prepared themselves and they went to school. So my grandmother told me, why are you not going to school today? And I didn't say anything. So she told me that, go and tell your mom that you didn't go to school, so that wakipika, they count you on, wanakuhesabu kwa chakula. So she forced me to go to tell my mom that I'm not in school that morning. So I went, and my dad was still sleeping. My mom was now doing house chores because she was leaving to work, or for work. So I went where my mom was, in my mother's house, and I told my mom that I'm not going back to that school. If you are not changing me to that school, I'm not going back. My mom told me that, kama sina pesa, I don't have money for your books, your uniforms, your shoes, school fees is a problem. How can I manage to get money to take you back to another school to buy your uniforms and everything, new uniforms and everything? I told mom that what I went into that school, I'm not going back. So my dad, when my dad was in the bedroom, he had us talking, and he was like, nishikie huyo mtu, nikuje nimuonyeshe, nifunze adabu. So so my mom knew how my dad can be sometimes. He can beat you like like something else. So my mom pretended that now she's beating me, So before my dad, she pretended like she's beating me, and my dad was like, you are not beating her the way it's supposed to be. You have to hit her like really hard. So my mom left my hand. So when my dad was coming out of that bedroom, I ran away. He tried to get me, but he could not, because even if I was sick, my legs were sick, but I knew it's better I endure that pain running than to wait on, because my dad beat me really bad. So I ran away, and my dad prepared himself and went to his workplace. And so I went back home. My mother I think my mother understood me, because she told me that she has been in that situation also. So she understood what I was going through. She told me go and take a shower and everything. So I went and took a shower. cold water. It was a punishment. And after that, I stayed at home waiting now for my mom to if she can take me back to school, but she was not able to do that. So I my mom was pregnant and she gave birth to fifth born. So I was the one to take care of the baby at the moment because I was not at school. So it was in 2012. I was still young. I was like turning 13 years. So yeah, I raised my small sister. I even remember my father, my father, my uncle, brother to my father. One day he insulted me like, "Go and get married and give birth to your own kid. Why are you raising your mother's kid and everything?" I was so mad, but I was only 13. So how can a grown man tell me that to go and get married and give birth to your own kid? Stop raising your mother's kid. I was so hurt, but I could not do anything about it. So it was now 2013 when my mother's sister, my mother went to Nairobi for her cousin's wedding, and there she met her sister, whom they have been separated for like more than 10 years. Yeah, so her sister was pregnant. So my mother my mother told her about me, and she said I can go to stay with her, and maybe it was on September, yeah, and when it is now January next year, it was now 2014, she will think if she's going to take me back to school in Kitale. So I said yes, and I went to Nairobi. I helped her, and she was not treating me that good. Yeah, she was treating me badly. So she could give me her kids napkins and full of, and I could wash it. When I was, now I started now seeing my periods, and she never bought me even one day. She never bought me even a. I used to cut my blouse, and I remember before we go back to Kitale, her husband gave her money and told her that aenda nifanyie shopping, like anibaie mangu kidogo kidogo, because I had no clothes, I had no shoes. I remember when I went to Nairobi, I was wearing my mother's wrappers, and it was like ilikuwa imetoboka hapa kidole inaonekana. So and I hata mamangu pia nguo zenye nilivaa, I think my mother was the one that alinigawia nguo zake because I had no clothes. So she went and bought some clothes. She bought like 4 pairs of rubbers, and 2 skirts and 2 t-shirts. Yeah, so when she told me that those were my clothes, when we got to the village in Kitale, she took away the clothes. She only gave me 1 skirt, and she told me that the other skirt and other blouses for her sister-in-law. So when we got to Kitale, she alinyang'anya hizo manguo kapeana, and labda akapelekea paka neighbor wake mmoja, ingine akapea sister-in-law wake, akachukua ingine. So I kabaki na moja, and so life was not good there. Yeah, I was healthy, but not healthy because I was too big. I was almost 100 kgs, but I never checked. But I was big, and the stretch marks were like this, and I was only 14. I was not 14 yet. I was still 13 because I was born in October, and it was not October yet. So I was still. So it was 2013. Yeah, on November 2013. So I was still. Yeah, I was. I was born in 1999 October. So I think I was maybe 14 or 13. 14 there. So I became a house help in Kitale. So whenever she told me to do something and I maybe complain, she would be like, "Then why did you come? What are you doing here? Because your mother told me that you came to work for me, and I'm paying your mother," and she was not paying my mother anything. So because I had no phone, so I used to think it is true. She's paying my mother for. Yeah. So yeah, I stayed there. My hair was I was looking like a mad person. Even I used to stay with a Marvin like I stayed with that Marvin almost 1 year because my hair is bad. I could najishuka mafuta kama 3 hivi nabomoa nashuka tena hivyo. I used to live like that. I was sweating, and my auntie used to tell me to cook. Unaona githeri ile ngumu, I'm using like this vijiti za mahindi, you know, to cook githeri ngumu, mahindi ngumu, maharagwe ngumu, and it was, ilikuwa time ya jua, so I used to, hey guys, nilikuwa nachomeka na jua. I'm cooking outside. It was really bad. And when she never took me to school, in school. So yeah, I became a maid and I stayed with her. I used to help her in cleaning watoto wake, na the sister-in-law went to alikuwa na sister-in-law wake, a sister to her husband, and the sister went to Saudi Arabia. So I had to she had 3 kids, and my aunt was had also 3 kids. So they were 6 now. I used to wash nguo zao zote, nguo like gunia mzima mosha peke yako. And yeah, it was like that. So when I saw that hakuna kitu inaendelea hapo, I'm not going to school, I decided now to go back home. When I went home, my mother looked for me, looked for another house job for me, and I was not used to like that kind of life, so nilishinda bado nikarudi nyumbani, and I went to another my mother's cousin sister again, and when she noticed that I was still young but my body was big, she threw me out of her house. And yeah, I've been through a lot, guys. So she told me, go back to your mother, and it was in Nairobi. I don't know Nairobi. I walked from Kabiria to town without knowing where I'm going, but luckily God is good. I met good people, and to people, they directed me to country bus. I got a bus and kind of home. Yeah, so yeah, life was like that. So now, you know, when I'm moving this, you know, I'm in Nairobi, I'm in Kitale, I'm in my village in Kakamega, so time is moving, you know. So mambo ya shule now ikaishia hapo. So now I became a big girl. Now I can't go back to school where I left, you know. So yeah, life was like that, and I've been struggling here and there. So it was now a time when I told myself, what if I could ningevumilia tu and nimalize kusoma, maybe life could have been better right now, you know, maybe ningevumilia tu. But now again I'm asking myself, ningevumilia, if those people could have done me something bad, you know, because they did. Can you imagine the pain of kudungwa na bairo, the pain of kanyangwa, guys? So sometimes I regret why I failed to kuvumilia, why I regret why I dropped out of that school. But when I remember the situation there, I don't regret leaving that school, but I regret because if my mom or my dad was trying, if my dad had tried enough, maybe they could take me to another school and maybe maisha ingekuwa better kidogo. But it is what it is. Yeah. Life now is like this. That is why I'm trying my best to do anything to make sure that my daughter gets a better education, you know. Ile mimi sikusoma nataka mtoto wangu, so I want to make sure that girl anaenda shule, guys, you don't know. And I just want God to keep me alive. I just want to raise that kid. I want to make sure that kids anaenda graduate, apate degree, apate masters and everything. And I want to give her the best that I could never get, you know, because I regret a lot why I did not finish school. And nobody knows this. Only my family knows that I didn't. Yeah, you know, sometimes you don't carry yourself like you are a problem. You have to work like maybe. Yes, so that is what I regret. Yeah, I don't know what you did and you regret it right now. If you have something that you did and you are regretting it right now, please let us know. Let us know and tell us why you did that thing and what made you do that thing and why are you regretting now. Yeah, so make sure you like this video and make sure you tell us why you did what you did. Please don't forget to subscribe to this channel, please. Road to 100, and I thank you so much for staying tuned till we got here. So it was me, Brenda, and this is Reality with Brenda. So Till next time. Bye.